Hi, I am starting on page 182 of One and Only Ivan with the chapter titled Bad Guys. Most of the day I doze. Late in the afternoon, Mac approaches. Bob slips under knot tag. He prefers to keep a low profile around Mac. Mac's gaze falls onto my pool. A corner of one of my paintings is visible. "What's that, big guy?" he asks. I calmly eat an orange, ignoring him, but my heart is racing. Mac kicks at my plastic pool. Underneath it are all the paintings. Mac yanks one piece of paper. It slips out easily. He doesn't seem to notice all the other paintings. The page is striped with green, which is what happens when blue and yellow paint get together. It's supposed to be a patch of grass. Not bad. Where'd you get the paint anyway? George's kid? He considers. I'll bet I can get 30 for this picture. Maybe even 40. Mac turns on my TV. It's a Western. There's a human with a big hat and a small gun. He has a shiny star pinned to his chest. That means he's the sheriff, and he will get rid of all the bad guys. "If it sells quick, I'm getting you some more of that paint, buddy," Mac says. He walks away with my painting, Ruby's painting. For a moment, I imagine what it will feel like to be the sheriff. Ad. "Good news, huh?" Bob says when Mac's out of earshot. "Looks like you might be getting some more supplies." "I don't want to paint for Mac," I say. "I'm painting for Ruby." You can do both," Bob says. "You're an artist after all." While I watch the movie, I try to come up with a new hiding place for my paintings. Maybe I think I could fold them once they're dry and stuff them into knot tag. It's a long movie. At the end, the sheriff marries the woman who owns the saloon, which is a watering hole for humans, not horses. It's been a long time since I've seen a Western that was also a romance. "I like that movie," I said to Bob. "Too many horses, not enough dogs," he comments. An ad comes on. I don't understand ads. They're not like Westerns, where you know who the bad guy's supposed to be. And they're hardly ever even romantic, unless the man and the woman are brushing their teeth before they face lick. I watch an ad for an underarm deodorant. "How do you know who's who if they don't smell?" I ask Bob. "Humans reek," Bob replies. "They just don't notice because they have incompetent noses." Another ad comes on. I see children and their parents buying tickets, just like the tickets Mac sells. They laugh, enjoying their ice cream cones as they walk down a path. They pause to watch two sleepy-eyed cats, huge and striped, dozing in the long grass. Tigers, I know, because I've seen them on the nature show once. Words flash on the screen, accompanied by a drawing of a red giraffe. The giraffe vanishes, and I see a human staring at another kind of family. Elephants, old and young. They're surrounded by rocks and trees and grass and so much room to wander. It's a wild cage, a zoo. I see where it begins and where it ends, the wall that says you are this and we are that, and that is how it will always be. It's not a perfect place. Even in just a few fleeting seconds on my TV screen, I can see that. A perfect place would need no walls. But it's a place I need. I gaze at the elephant, and then I look over at Ruby, small and alone. Before the ad ends, I try to remember every last detail. Rocks, trees, tails, trunks. It's a picture that I need to paint. Imagining. It's different now when I paint. I'm not painting what I see in front of me, a banana, an apple. I'm painting what I see in my head, things that don't exist, at least not yet. I pull out knot tag stuffing. I fill her with my paintings, hiding them so Mac won't sell them. She's large, bigger than Bob, but I still have to crumple a few of them. Bob tries to settle in on her for a nap. "You've killed her," he complains. "I had to," I say. "I miss your stomach," Bob admits. It's just so spacious. When Julia arrives, she notices that I've used up all my paints and paper. "Wow," Julia shakes her head. "You're one serious artist, Ivan." One more thing. My finger painting has sold for $40 with a frame. Mac is happy. He brings me a huge pile of paper and big buckets of paint. "Get to work," he says. I paint for Mac during the day and for Ruby at night. I nap when I can. By night time, my pictures aren't quite right. It's big, that's for sure. When I place all of the pieces on the floor of my cage side by side, the cement is almost completely covered. But something is still missing. Bob says I'm crazy. "There's Ruby," he says, pointing with his nose. "There's the zoo. There are the other elephants. What's wrong with it?" "I need one more thing," I say. Bob groans. "You're just a temperamental artist. What in the world could be missing?" I stare at the huge expanse of colors and shapes. I don't know how to explain to Bob that it isn't done yet. "I'll just have to wait," I say at last. "Something will come to me, and then I'll know my painting is finally ready." The 7 o'clock show. During the last show of the day, Ruby seems tired. When she stumbles, Mac reaches for the claw stick. I tense, wanting for her to strike back. Ruby doesn't even flinch. She just keeps plodding along, and after a while, Snickers jumps on her back. 12. I lie in my cage with Bob on my stomach. We're watching Julia do her homework. She doesn't seem to be enjoying it. I can tell because she's sighing more than usual. Again, for the 100th time, or maybe even the 1,000th, I wonder what is missing from my painting. And for the 100th time, or maybe the 1,000th time, I don't have any answer. "Dad," Julia says as George passes by with a mop, "can I ask you a question?" "May I?" George corrects her. "Ask away." Julia glances down at a piece of paper. "What's the difference between the word spelled Principal and the one spelled Principle? The first one is the head of the school, like Miss Garcia. The second one is a belief that helps you know right from wrong." He smiles. "For example, it's against my principles to do my daughter's homework for her." Julia groans. "If I'm going to be an artist when I grow up, why do I need to know how to spell?" With a laugh, George heads off. Poor Julia, I think. Gorillas get by just fine without learning to spell. And all of those endless letters, those sticks and circles and zigs and zags, filling up books and magazines, billboards and candy wrappers, words. Humans love words. I leap up. Bob goes flying straight into my pool. "A word!" "You know how I feel about wet feet," Bob yells. He scrambles out of the water, shaking each foot in dismay. I look out my window at the billboard. I can still hear Mac's voice in my head. "Come to the Exit 8 Big Top Mall and Video Arcade, home of the one and only Ivan, mighty Silverback." I count to 12, and then I count again, just to be sure. H. I lay out 16 pieces of poster board, 4 down and 4 across, a perfect square. "What are you up to?" Bob demands. "I'm guessing it doesn't involve sleep." It has to do with the billboard. That sign's a monstrosity, particularly since I'm not even featured. I grab my bucket of red paint. You're not on the billboard because you're not in the show, I point out. Technically, I don't even live here, Bob says with a sniff. I'm homeless by choice. I know, I'm just saying. I study the billboard and then I make 2 fat lines like broom handles. Another fat line connects them. I stand back. What do you think? What is it? No, wait, let me guess. A ladder? Not a ladder, I say, a letter. At least I think that's what they're called. I have to make 3 more. Bob cuddles up next to Knot Tag. Why, he asks, yawning. Because then I'll have a word, a very important word. I dip my fingers into the paint. What word? Bob asks. Home. Bob closes his eyes. That's not so important, he says quietly. Nervous. All day long I knuckle walk across my cage. Then I walk circles. I'm so nervous I can't nap. I can't even eat. Well, not very much anyway. I'm ready to show Julia what I've made. It has to be Julia. She's an artist. Surely she'll truly look at my paintings. She won't notice the smudges and the tears. She won't care if the pieces don't quite fit together. She'll see past all of that. Surely Julia will see what I imagined. I watch Ruby trudging sullenly through the 4 o'clock show and I wonder, what will happen if I fail? What will happen if I can't make Julia understand? But of course I know the answer. Nothing will happen. Ruby will remain the main attraction at Exit 8 Big Top Mall and Video Arcade, conveniently located off I-95, with shows at 2, 4, and 7, 365 days a year after year after year. Showing Julia. It's time to show my work. The mall is silent except for Thelma, the macaw, who is practicing a new phrase. Uh-oh. Julia is finishing her homework. George is sweeping outside. Mac has gone home for the night. I grab Knot Tag and carefully pull out the folded paper. So many paintings, page after page, piece after piece of my giant puzzle. I pound on my glass and Julia glances over. Fingers trembling, I hold up one of my paintings. It's brown and green, a corner piece. Julia smiles. I display another picture and then another and another, each one a tiny part of a whole. Julia looks confused. But what is it? She asks. She shrugs. It doesn't matter. It's pretty just as it is. Uh-oh, says Thelma. No, I think. No, it does matter. Okay, that's all for tonight, guys. Mrs. Looney will be reading you the next couple chapters probably on Monday. See you soon.